Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. This is going to be a fun one. My name is Jeff, and alongside me are the Buddy Murphy and Ruby Riot to my Aleister Black. It's Max and Craig, everybody. Max and Craig.
I'm completely okay with that example.
Yeah, there's no negativity there. What the point is that we are so high on the road to Slammiversary that we cannot be upset about anything. So we're all equals today. We are all hot free agents, which is going to be kind of the theme of the show, including the game at the end. But let's start it off right. Max, what you watching?
Well, speaking of Buddy Murphy, I've actually been watching NXT between the dates of January 15th, 2015 and August 22nd, 2015, in which him and Wesley Blake were NXT Tag Team Champions to prepare myself for what will eventually be the Impact Tag Team Champions.
We will get into all that. I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions on that statement, which will obviously I alluded to. We will have not only a topic about it, but we'll also have a really fun interactive game that could win you some prizes, perhaps if we get enough people in this chat. Maybe we have to see if anyone's there. Hello, chat room. Hit us up. Craig, let's go to you, buddy. How you been?
The Twitch notification just went out on the website, so hopefully.
It's a little behind.
Yeah, I just got it on mine, so.
Gotcha.
Thanks for coming through. Yeah, I'm good. Just had my niece's birthday today, so I had to go there for a party, and she decided to get her friends to tip water over. So it's all good.
Do you have a fear of water?
Sounds fun.
No, it's just I kind of wasn't.
Yeah,
wasn't
that's the worst, right?
The British have a fear of brushing.
Oh, come on. That's so stereotyped. In fact, you know what? I'm not that I don't brush my teeth, but fluoride, man. Us Americans have it all wrong. Oh, hey, what's up? It's Charles, right? Hey, Charles. Yeah, I don't brush my teeth with fluoride anymore. What the fuck are we talking about? This is where
I was making a joke and you decided to go off about brushing teeth.
We are here as I hate the term influencers. We are here as friends to give advice on wrestling and dental hygiene, I guess. But so Craig's tired. Max is stoked for Buddy's release.
That's right. I wasn't stoked
of course
he got
not.
Released, but I was stoked.
But you were looking forward to that day.
Yes.
So yeah, you guys will get to play a little general manager, a little Scott D'Amore in the end segment. So it'll be a really fun time for the listeners here. I see people starting to roll in here. So we'll do a little. Are we on time? Where are we at, Craig? Oh, we got some time.
I just realized
3 minutes in.
I just dropped something laughing. Welcome to Talking Nonsense About Fluoride. Thanks, Flucha. That's pretty much the show. I'll try to fix this. Someone talk while my TNA set falls apart.
Hey, it's fine.
Yeah,
just like the real TNA set.
It's
got its works.
At least it didn't set us up on fire.
You're what?
At least it didn't set itself on fire.
I thought you said your niece set herself on fire. Oh shit! This took a turn. No wonder.
A birthday party took a real
no wonder
turn
they were
real
throwing
quick.
water on you. Put your ass out. Oh shit! All right, Craig. Why don't you hit your normal spots and we'll roll into power rankings.
So yes, it's me. It's M.I.B. Craig, aka Mr. Impact Blog for TNAIW channel. And we are live once again. And if you didn't know by now, you can find us here, you can find us there, you can find us down there, everywhere. Facebook to Twitter, YouTube to Sounder, and not only Sounder, you can find us on Spotify, you can find us on Google Podcasts, you can find us on Pocket Casts, wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us.
Yeah.
And big shout out to people listening to us in US, the UK, Ireland, Germany, India,
Singapore.
And Singapore.
And Austria is the last one there. Yeah. Good point. You told me today that we now have Austria on there. Get us over in Canada, hopefully. But as I wanted to get to
bigger worldwide reach than AEW.
Oh man, globally, it's possible. Actually, yeah, it's possible. But it also doesn't cost money to get us to our content over to those countries. The one thing I wanted to say, I did mention it earlier. We're in high spirits. We're on the road to Slammiversary. We are going to Slammiversary. TNAIW crew is rolling there. Unfortunately, sans Craig, but eventually it's 2/3 of the crew. But no, Lucha's joining us.
You know what
What's
we
that?
should do? We should get one of those big cardboard cutouts of Craig's head, and so we can hold it up in the crowd.
What is it, the fat heads? Is that what they're called?
I don't know. They're just the
Okay,
big heads that
deal.
people hold
Craig,
up.
You are coming with us to Slammiversary. But yeah, we're very excited. We'll talk all about that. Yes, hashtag TNAIW section. If you're going, let's try to get some shirts. I obviously said the shirts would be on sale this week. Having got a little investment there, so we're actually going to put some money into some of them to make sure they're legit and stuff you guys actually wouldn't mind wearing to dinner or somewhere instead of just in your hiding. But this one here,
we actually got better at making them, and when we got better, we realized we could better were, so we decided to make them better before they went on sale.
yeah, that's the true way to say it.
Yeah, I mean that's basically.
All right, let's. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get headed early. Craig, kick it to power rankings, my friend.
Yeah, once again, power rankings are coming. If you agree or disagree, let us know. And of course, if you want to join the TNAIW Power Rankings Committee, just give us a shout.
All right.
Power
Rankings. All right, did you agree with the power rankings? If not, bitch to Craig. I'll have him handle all the complaints.
Okay, guess. Fine, I guess.
Did everyone agree?
I liked them.
Yeah, pretty much spot on.
Yeah.
Josh.
Oh yeah, after that performance. I mean, we'll get to it, but didn't want to cut you short. So, Craig, take the lead, my friend.
So let's get straight into these hot topics. Kicking off with number 1, Impact on Access TV. We had my notes up. Josh Alexander defeating TJP. Jake Something defeating Rohit Raju in a tables match. W. Morrissey attacking Rich Swann. Fire and Flavor defending the Knockouts Tag Team Championships successfully against Grayson Ellering. Kojima making his debut, defeating Dina. And Sami Callihan defeated Moose by disqualification thanks to the Good Brothers. What are your thoughts and feelings on the segments and favourite match, favourite segment of the night? Let's kick it to Jeff.
All right. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know where to start with this episode. Obviously, if you want to start from the beginning, it's the Iron Man match, right? That was the first thing that bled into from BTI into the show, which I thought was genius because I've watched a full episode of BTI a number of one time, and that was this time. And it made me watch. Obviously, most of it was dedicated to that, so I didn't get to the full BTI experience, but it looks like they're going in the direction of making that a real entity and trying to do something with it. So for that reason, it was a success as well. Now, excluding the fact that you could go on Facebook or YouTube now and watch it for full, or the app itself, Impact Plus app, $7.99 a month. I won't get into that because I know a lot of people that's technically not this this show because there were commercials and such. So, but I will say, regardless of that, even before I got to see beginning to end, it was a banger. It was so nicely done and refreshing to have a not only 60-minute Iron Man match, but it was booked in such a different way than we're used to, which is, either a lot of falls or, we're going to one fall. It was just nicely done. And I was a big fan of that. So I'd be remiss to say that would be my favorite match. I don't know if that's the easy way out here. I loved Sammy and Moose. I said it during the live tweeting that it felt like a video game. Seeing them go and seeing Josh and TJP, we are built for a video game now. And I loved it. And the Good Brothers came in and showed their dominance with the Elite or whatever their name is. And I really liked it because it's still giving me NWO vibes. And not in the sense of like, they're the coolest thing going today. But you have that group of outsiders taking on our core who don't get along, and there needs to be a third man to step up. I'll get more on who I think that will be later. But either way, this episode I really felt like was a bounce back from, not last week was bad, but it just felt like more of, not filler, but leading in, foreshadowing. And this one actually really brought the goods for me. I mean, I don't know if it would be stupid to say that the Iron Man match obviously wasn't the highlight. But I also wouldn't argue if you said VBD's segment was that, or Morrissey's. There was just so much good shit that I wouldn't be mad if someone disagreed with me.
No, I definitely agree. It was a really good episode. I personally thought the Iron Man match stole the show. I'd have been completely fine if that literally was the first hour of the show. It was that good. But I mean, there were a lot of other good segments. I really liked with Fire and Flavor versus Jordan and Rachel. I liked the way Fire and Flavor won that. I thought it was an interesting way to do it. I thought the Morrissey thing is they're building him up to be a legit monster. I mean, that's what they need. You need people. Once this whole thing with Kenny Omega settles down and we have our champion, you're going to need somebody new to step in. You can't just rotate Moose, Sammy, and Eddie over and over again. You've got to bring somebody on. I like Josh Alexander talking about the fact after he won, hey, I'm the only person that holds gold here. He routinely forgot about the tag titles, the women's tag titles, and Deonna Purrazzo. But hey, whatever. Clearly he feels like he's the only person that matters. But I like that. I like that him basically saying, hey, at this point I am the Impact champion. Like, I'm the guy from Impact that, I'm the only Impact wrestler that holds Impact gold. Like, I want this opportunity. So I liked that. And I thought the ending to the Moose Sammy match was well done because it gives us a triple threat. Unfortunately, I mean, I know we'll probably get into it later on, but I don't think it leads to a title change. But I think it gives us the opportunity to set up what could be Moose versus Omega at Slammiversary, and it not feel like a weird match. Like, this is, hey, now this is finally our one-on-one.
Right.
Like, let's do this kind of thing, as opposed to having to screw him some way and against the odds where it sets up well. So I thought, top to bottom, I thought it was a really good episode. I mean, I agree with you with BTI. It's the only, outside of catching the 3 minutes when I tune in before, it's the first time I watched the whole episode, and that, I mean, it was a match of the year at this point. I think both those guys could go, and I really one thing I liked in the match that I saw some people point out online too is it's obviously a 60-minute Iron Man match, so they play on to the fact of these guys are so exhausted that they can't follow up on stuff. I really like that because it plays into the fact that this 60 minutes, it's outside of the norm of what these guys do. Like, this isn't, this isn't Rich Swann being gassed out in 15 minutes against Kenny Omega. This is these guys going 50 minutes in, and it's like, I'm so tired, I can't follow up on something that 40 minutes ago, boom, I would have been able to follow up. So I really like that that basically that story had played.
I think
into the
they
whole
also we
story
have to give credit to a commentary team who I wasn't looking forward to calling this match. I mean, Josh, it was a different Josh in my well, to my ears at least, and I thought they did well. I thought they sold everything. I never saw anything coming or too obvious. That segment with up the ramp where he was going to do the J Driller or whatever he calls it. Up on the ramp, and then all the X Division guys stop him. It was just and then all the wrestlers slowly coming to the ring, showing their respect and wanting to know. It just was so nicely done, and whoever produced that segment deserves, everything they can get, because it was amazing. It was nicely done, and it wasn't. There's been Iron Man matches before now, granted maybe not 60 minutes, but the fact that half of it's on commercial, or we don't get to see those fillers, and we assume that they're just sitting in the ring during, in front of the live audience, or what would be a live audience. So you could say so many good things about it, and they all be true.
And I do like that the ending. A lot of Iron Man matches, unfortunately, go with the whole overtime thing, but this one, I mean, it went with an overtime finish, but it surprised me because I really thought that it was going to end with TJP locked in the ankle lock and just not able to get out, and Alexander just able to be like, hey, I can just run out the clock. But at the very end, I was like, okay, he reversed it. That's a really good, surprising finish to me that I didn't expect. So I
also want to mention, I wrote it in big letters here, King of the Mountain. It was mentioned and teased multiple times. No, you know what? I don't want to hear this. And I keep telling everybody who says, oh, after I wrote it, oh, it's the stupidest gimmick. Oh, well, explain the rules to me, because I'll explain them to you. There's 2 rules. You pin or submit someone, you're eligible to hang the belt and win. If you're pinned or submitted, you go to a penalty box for 2 minutes. It's that fucking simple. And so I don't want to hear it. It's an actually fun concept. 5 wrestlers, and I think it's going to happen at Slammiversary with this X Division. It just makes too much sense, and with Josh being such a big fan of TNA as well, it makes an easy, explanation for doing it. I don't know. Anyways, yes, that was I liked it. I liked it.
It was a fantastic show. I mean, my jaw dropped when TJP got that pinfall. Didn't expect it. Great stuff all around. Moving on now to Against All Odds. Our feelings on the card. Starting the card consisting of, we will have Kojima versus Joe Doring, Violent by Design versus Decay for the tag team titles, Fire and Flavor versus Kimberly and Susan for the Knockouts tag titles, Deanna versus Rosemary and possibly Havoc for the Knockouts, and normal contenders X Division match. This is for Pete Williams versus Trey Miguel versus Rohit versus Ace versus Bay, Swan versus Morrissey, and Moose versus Kenny. How are you feeling on this card? Do you think is this the card set, or do we expect to see another match maybe added to it, or how are we feeling on it?
So it's Moose versus Kenny and Sam.
It's not
right?
official.
It's a triple threat now.
No.
It's not official. Oh, sorry. Okay, well, they're going to add them. He's going to add them in. They're having what's-his-face come in. So I think Sami Callihan will be added to the number 1 contender match, or the title match, because I think he's eating the pin against Omega. And then Moose can still say, you've never beaten me. And that sets up your Slammiversary. I don't think there's going to be any title changes. I'm excited about the Deanna Purrazzo and Rosemary match. I think that's going to be really good. I'm excited because it gives Deanna a new contender that we haven't seen. It's going to be kind of crappy that Decay is also going to lose the tag match too. But hey, that's still
which Hakeem just mentioned. Yeah, I want to point that out, that they are allowing them to use the Freebird rule. Obviously, Doring has a match with Kojima, so it's going to be Diener and Rhino, which is...
Rhino, I like that. I think that's a good way to do it. So it's Violent by Design of the champions, like their group. I like that a lot. In terms of the X Division one, that'll probably start the show. If I had to guess, it should. I'm torn there. I mean, I want to see Chris Bay just because he's absolutely amazing. But I think Trey would also be a really good winner. I'm just hoping for a Canadian Destroyer.
I'm sure you'll get more than one.
Fingers crossed there. Well, hopefully only Petey hits them. Hopefully, like, everybody's not throwing these things out like
Right.
it's WWE. But I mean, I
Or
think
AEW.
it looks like a solid card. I
Or
don't see any
NXT.
title changes, but it's also, I think, something that is going to do a really good job of kind of showcasing your champions and hopefully setting things up for Slammiversary, because that's your pay-per-view that's going to have a live crowd. Like, this pay-per-view needs to be like begin to set things
Right.
for
Yeah,
that.
I think we're going to see some changes here. I do think the knockouts match is turned into a three-way as well, with Deanna, Havoc being added, and Rosemary. And then I agree with you. I think it makes more sense to have this as our kind of peak before we get into Slammiversary, and then it's all not downhill, but momentum has started from there.
Yeah.
So I think the three-way makes sense for the main event as well. Does that mean no titles are going to change? Most likely not. I mean, or it does mean that. Yes, I don't think titles are going to change here. Could they? Yeah, sure, but I just don't see the appeal to the fan, or why the company would need to pull during a non-live pay-per-view event, pull that card and take the belt off somebody, unless something happened that we don't know. So I see everyone keeping their title, which I'm completely fine with, because I'm just going in there looking for a good wrestling show. And if you're looking for a good wrestling show, that card is pretty damn close to, I won't say perfection, but I mean, top to bottom, there's nothing that I really don't want to see. And that's not always the case. Sometimes there's filler.
Yeah.
And maybe there is another match that'll get added for filler. I don't think we have Jake something on anything yet. And they're kind of finally giving him his more dominant run, or establishing him as dominant. But even the Morrissey and Swan thing I'm excited about, because there's no way in hell, right? They were both in NXT together. So I imagine they have some kind of chemistry or knowledge of each other, or their inner workings. They wanted to work together. And it's a perfect feud to get Rich Swann out of the title picture and not say, well, Rich Swann, they just threw him to the curb after his loss. So I like that he's sidetracked with this. Yeah, I think top to bottom, it's a great show. I'm excited about just watching it and enjoying and sitting back. The X Division match is... There's so many artists in that match that I think that the picture they're going to paint is going to be something of beauty. Or smudge everywhere and just nonstop action, pun intended. Kitty, yes, it's kitty time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop with the
bothering me,
microphone.
so I
though.
brought it
There
up.
you go. All right. But yeah, so Against All Odds, I'll be sure to watch it. It's this next Saturday, so this is obviously our slight, small preview to it, and we will be doing, I imagine, a show on Sunday. We'll talk that over and lock it in rather soon. But yeah, so I hope we all get to watch it. I hope it's fun. Craig, are you feeling iffy on any of these matches, or are you just excited from top to bottom?
No, I'm looking forward to this
Okay.
card. I mean, we've seen Rosemary versus Diana
Right.
before, but it's a lot fresher than most of the feuds she can have. But minus Taylor Wilde, this is the freshest feud she can have currently. In terms of established people who believe can become.
No, I
champion
agree
right
with
now.
you. I'm sorry that my face was to Hakeem's there. See, I don't think that's weird, because one, I don't think anyone looked at Rich Swann as the guy. We've talked about that extensively. He just looked a level lower, and Carmella's ex-boyfriend. Take away from this guy's talent, man. This guy, I don't know. I think he's coming in. Maybe he's not for everyone. I know our buddy Cody isn't a big fan either, but I just feel like he's going to prove his worth. And he's not long-term contract, but he can go, and I think they're going to have a banger. And I'd like that they, like I said, it sidestepped Swan. He's forced to be in this feud because, what's his face? Morrissey won't let it go. You know, he's attacking him. He's he's egging it on. It gives him something else to do. I don't know.
And it makes sense. Like, how do you get... I mean, outside of the fact that... I mean, let's be realistic. He got destroyed in that Kenny Omega match. Like, I don't care what anybody says. He looks like... I agree. He looks like he didn't belong. But this kind of like wraps up the whole, like, he can't try and go back. He can't say I deserve to be this, because Morrissey's just beating him down every chance he gets. So he has to confront this monster
and that's
in front
nothing
of him. So I think that it works.
I agree with you. Well, you're reiterating, but so of course I agree with you. But no,
Yeah.
we're on the same page with that. But I like Swan. I think he's a good dude. I think he's great, and he could go from beginning to end. Yeah, and that's fair enough. Fair point. I mean, he has to do the convincing, and the only thing that can do that is time. Consistently being good, and for a long period of time. So we'll see if he can handle it. I think he can. I don't want to. He's just got to lay off the juice. I'll say that. I'll let it.
Yeah, WWE pushed Morrissey before he was ready, and they pushed him as a wrong type of heel. So, number 3, a big one. Hashtag fans for Slammiversary. It's happened, despite our good buddy Mike from Combat Republic asking on the press pass if there was any plans. Obviously, Ross Foreman denied it, which I can see why. But how big of a deal is this, and how much better will the product feel in front of fans? And I don't, in terms of pricing, how I haven't checked it out, but in terms of pricing, how do you think it's fair, and what do you think the next hashtag will be? The thing that fans kind of nudge Impact in the direction of.
So that's 3 and 4. Yeah, well, they kind of roll into each other. So that yeah. I think it's my go. Yeah. So as far as fans for Slammiversary, one, I'm going to say that I'm going to give Mike some credit here at Combat Republic. I'm going to say that because he asked is the reason we have we have it, because they didn't have an answer, man. I don't know. He said we don't know at this time or something of that nature. Maybe they saw the plea for it. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna stay optimistic here. And as far as the pricing and stuff, I got to give Jeebus credit here because he nailed it as far as what the price was going to be. And I guess you could assume that it was going to be in the higher tier. Because, one, they're not going to allow many fans. So they got to make their money's worth where it's worth their while, besides the crowd noise, which I think will help tremendously, especially if what we think may or may not happens with the returns or debuts. And the matches alone, too. So let's go through that really quick. So every seat is front row. Okay, you're around the ring, right? Or seat level, at least. I don't know how many it is. I would say 50 to 100. Hey, Brother Bert. So I'd say 50 to 100 is my guess. They were $250 a pop. $292 after tax, something like that. But, yeah, we get Robert Irvine's chocolate bars or whatever the fuck it is. Which, great. And you get snacks and stuff of that nature. But you get Slammiversary shirt for free. You get personal up close access because we get to go around watch the ring, or excuse me, let's go with that first. We get to watch the ring be cut up and get to keep a piece of the canvas, each of us, which I think is dope. We get to hold the X Division title, the real Josh Alexander X Division title, on the ramp or wherever it is around the ring to take a picture. So
I'm making a break for it, by the way. I'm gonna see if
are
I
you
can
gonna
get
run
away.
backstage or just not?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just gonna go. See if I can get to my
ship
car.
it over to me.
Ship
it to me.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Oh, with the belt, you mean? It's
With
beautiful.
the belt,
It's a beautiful belt.
He gives me the belt. I'm making a break for it.
So I think the value is appropriate. And of course I would prefer if it was $50, but with the amount of with the situation being is what it is. Not saying that Nashville doesn't allow everybody, but they weren't going to even have anybody at Slammiversary. So to get it all set up in that small studio, to make it worth it to the fans, I think they had to think it over and say, hey, what was worth the $250, or to get it to a price point where it makes it worth it, or the risk of having fans in here. So I think it was worth it. I'm excited about it. It's coming up sooner. I mean, pretty damn soon. So we're going to have to plan. But for us, I think what it does is gives us a chance to not only meet in person, we get to meet Lucha, which is awesome, but to have our own little section to be around people again, cheering for live action, which alone is great. But the possibility of seeing the Iconics and Samoa Joe and whoever else may come debut is worth it alone. Now, I haven't decided if I'm going to wear my Who Kidnapped Joe shirt. I know he doesn't like that storyline. But it would be funny if that shirt got on the show and then Joe comes out. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. But I digress. Max, how are you? Are you excited? I would hope so.
I mean, we paid $292, so
not including travel, yeah.
At this point, I've got to be somewhat excited. No, I'm excited about it. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be neat. I think having the live crowd there, even if it's 50 or 100 people, you're going to feel the energy through the TV. Even when AEW just had like their wrestlers in the crowd and making noise, it still provided a lot of energy. So I think it's going to be great for the performer, for the wrestlers. Like that's the thing. They're going to be able to feed off energy from a crowd. And because this is the first time back, I mean, you could literally march Velvet Sky and Kelly out there for a 60-minute Iron Woman match, and people are going to be hyped for the whole thing because it's the first time they've been back. That's
the time I'd fucking book it. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, it's the first time people have been back, so they're going to be excited for all the matches. It's not something to where, this is my 14th TNA pay-per-view I've been to in the year, and I'm just like, whatever. Like, anything they put on, everybody's going to be excited because they're going to want to feel that energy. They're going to want to give that energy to the wrestlers. So I definitely think it's going to be an awesome night, day, whatever. It just comes down to whether or not we'll be sleeping in our car in the parking lot the night before.
If we pass out from smoking with Trey, that's the only way that I will sleep in my car. I'm excited about this. It's going to be great. It's going to be great just to see the wrestlers. We haven't reached out to wrestlers to transparency and bias here. I mean, no bias in full transparency as we like to run the show. We haven't reached out to any of the wrestlers as far as, for the most part, not at all, current roster. Just because we don't want to step on toes. We didn't think we were in the place yet, or obviously we just now have good sound and video, or decent video, to have an actual wrestler on here. We want to lead with our best foot forward. So maybe this is the connection that we need to make to get them on here and there, and add that to our schedule once a month. So there's these things that the opportunity for us is there just to have some conversations, just to get a TNAIW shirt on TV, which I think is dope. And then at the same time, we get to hang out with a bunch of other avid Impact fans. We have to remember, this is the first live event since we signed the last Slammiversary crew. Not a single person, besides Lariato, or if you're going there, has seen the Good Brothers in an Impact ring in person. So, just for that, the hype, it might outweigh what they produce because the bar is so high for us. At the same time, I have a cushion of, hey, this is the first time we get to see X, Y, and Z. So I think there's that fallback of the show can't be bad when we're so happy that it's, that we're there. So I think we don't know obviously a match that's going to happen, but Slammiversaries never disappoint. It's gonna be great. I see a lot of there you go. We got to get a DACA shirt. Yes.
Here's what we need to do. We need to make a TNAIW shirt. TNAIW, and we need to give it to somebody, one of the wrestlers, and have them enter with wearing our shirt. You think Doc Gallows will rock our shirt for their entrance? Maybe Carl
during the show.
I'm just saying.
Maybe offer it
during the show. Yeah.
Maybe offer it to Penzer.
Penzer? No. Man, Penzer abandoned us. Imagine the crew of TNI.
Maybe we can make like an iconic shirt and just, do something.
We're cool with them. They can come in the ring with us. Yeah, no, I mean, that's another thing you guys have to understand. When it comes to this stuff, internet is one thing. To have this interaction with Max through the camera, or Craig through the camera, or Lucha, or Hakeem, or whoever, Bert, we're going to meet these people that we've been talking to since we started our show more adamantly, which has been probably since last Slammiversary, and get to meet them in person and not conversate through a phone, through a text, through an email. So you actually get to see what kind of person you're actually talking to. And I think that's healthy for a lot of Impact fans, because I think there's too much camaraderie and not enough blend when it comes to Impact fans. If you don't think my way, you think the wrong way. If you do this, you so I think for that very reason, to see people in person, to see all of the Miguel's going, I know Miguel's going, so who I saw last Bound for Glory, that I went to. So it's just an opportunity for more bonding, to create more family atmosphere, and that I hope is electrifying, and it comes through the TV, as you said.
The one thing I will ask is for everybody going, please remember, shower.
Oh, please.
Before the start of
that
the
is
show.
my biggest thing. I love wrestling. I don't believe that stereotypes are always accurate in the world, but they generally are. Okay, white people generally can't dance or jump. You know what I mean? There's always one.
There's always one or two.
But wrestling fans at a wrestling show, it never fucking fails. There's always one, especially at those Ring of Honors. Now, this goes back to when I used to avidly go to Ring of Honor, but holy Lord, there was a... Yeah, anyways. Water, good. Craig.
The more indie the show, the worse the fans smell. I think that's...
And the wrestlers. No.
Quickly on to number 4.
Oh,
Have obviously the next big step for Impact. What you think they need to push, and what you think fans need to try and nudge Impact in the direction of, Max?
I don't know. I mean, I want to say a video game. I think a video game would be fun. But I kind of feel like they need to grow. I'll go with like a secondary show. Like, I want to see them start another show outside of just Impact. Something, whether it's just on their app or something like that, to kind of highlight other things. Because I do think that as this pandemic ends, you're going to see them grow. And as that happens, I think they're going to need more than 2 hours to highlight everybody. So that's my next step.
I like that. Show. Honestly, I'd even think of that, because there's so many other things that we were talking about in the chat group that kind of led in. And this is where the question came from, is straight from the chat group. I know Lucha was talking about what is that next campaign? Obviously, hashtag fans for Slammiversary it got around. Did it do it? I hope so. But either way, at least it felt as a victory for the people that participated, obviously led by Mike G of Combat Republic. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, video games cool. We talked about the Impact app getting on somewhere else, or having upgrades so the pay-per-views are on there. Unfortunately, you do the math money-wise, it just doesn't make sense for them financially to switch these $40 pay-per-views to the app right now. They would need. I think I did the math, and it was $10,000 worth of more paid subscriber money a month to fan out what we would get from a pay-per-view, that's depending on how many we have that are live, or you could buy on Fight or on demand or whatever. So I don't think that makes sense. I think the second show makes a lot of sense, especially when there's so much talent. I still think a knockout series is coming. We have trading cards and pins coming. They're slowly but surely making the right maneuvers to up the game. But what is that next thing? Is it action figures? Full-fledged action figures? Now, I was going to buy the... Craig, help me out here. I think you know. The little guys. Thank you.
Marco Brawlers.
I was going to buy those, and they're $20, 40 if signed, which is cool. The first batch, I was really upset that I got none, and they were all sold out. Second one, they're still there. And I was looking over them, and I said, "Oh man, I do want these. They're cool. They have RP." But at the same time, I'm like, "Damn, AEW's just came out. We need fucking action figures." Excuse my language, Jay. I'm just too happy. I keep saying that. But we need action figures. It's been a long time since we had some good quality ones that were full. The full whatever, and fully posable. A nerd
Fully
like me wants that. I think it also makes it makes the wrestlers look more important as well, no matter who they are. If you have an action figure and you could physically show it on your website or hopefully it gets into a store, you take a look at it, because that's still cool to you know what I mean. Whoever's going for action figures generally knows what they're going for, so I think that'd be a good market to have. But let's hear it in the chat group. I want to hear. Mex obviously said another show. I'm saying, I don't know, action figures.
I
don't know.
Hey, action figures is good.
I could go on for days on
Lay it
what
on
I
us. What
think
do you
it should be. It's
We don't have
to
days.
start all of this new
Yeah.
merch that's coming out in the States. It's not available to European fans.
That's it.
Or UK fans.
Oh.
So which sucks. And obviously a TV deal, yeah, I get it. It takes a lot of work to get a TV deal. I understand that. So I'm not too pushy on that. But fixing the app a bit. They didn't need to fix it in the first place, but now they have. Make it work better. I suppose it is still available. Impact Plus is still available on the Fight app in the UK.
But
and I suppose pay-per-views are cheaper. But I guess it's mainly just making this stuff available
I
to
like that.
European fans as well. I get it. Brexit is a pain in the ass, but
to your point, I like that. I mean, the UK, we've talked about this so many times, is such a poorly treated, or at least not acknowledged fan base that for a while was our saving grace. And for like as Craig said there, he gave good points. Brexit's a pain in the ass. You got this, you got that. TV deals are hard to get, but now that the layers are there for everything else, let's take care of our UK buddies. Let's get them a show. Let them have it on their damn television screen. So maybe that's what we'll go with. And if that's not the big one, at least it's something we can bring up and cause or put a focus to. Great job, Craig. I like that. Let's go. We got
Good idea, Craig.
It's a big thing for the UK fans, especially as there was a rumoured tour for last year.
Right.
But obviously, COVID got in the way. Moving on to fifth and final. You have last night, I believe, or Thursday night. I've lost track of days. Andrade debuted in AEW, and there was a teaser promo package for the debut of Maclin, or Maclin, however you say it. I was half asleep at the time, and I thought it was debut on an Impact.
It's that Forgotten Sons guy.
How do you feel this? Is this a big move for both companies in terms of AEW and Impact? I know Andrade didn't get much of a reaction. Is this a needle mover for both companies?
Is it me?
In terms of this, whatever relationship we have.
It's me.
It starts with you.
So, part of the reason I like this question is because it goes right into our next segment, which, like I said, we'll skip a commercial. I'm going to go into how we're going to play it. But as regards to these two individual, I think the discrepancy there shows exactly what position AEW and Impact are in. Okay. Now, it has been acknowledged that Andrade was a go for us as far as someone we pursued and someone that was close to a deal. The amount of dates, because that's what we generally focus on. Sorry, I'm not picking my nose rings. A certain amount of dates is kind of what we do on our new deals for the most part, which is here's your money, these are how many dates we're going to have you for, etc., etc. So he didn't want to do as many dates. He wanted full creative control, which we went halfway with him there. And then I forgot what the other demand was. That was pretty large. And then we were close to having a one-off appearance for him, but nothing else. And so he went to AEW. Once again, transparency, no bias. It's a big get for them because it makes someone like me who likes him and the style of wrestling he brings and the character he brings to want to tune in and see what he does there. Now, obviously, he's getting paid well, I'm sure very well, and that plays into our game as well. How much do you spend on an Andrade? Does he move the needle in Impact? Yeah, amongst the community, sure, of course. But does he move the needle in the ratings or the reach of AEW? I think he does, especially in the Latin market as well, as they start to bring more AAA guys in or whatever they're doing there. So I think it's a huge get for him. He could go. He has a kind of a built-in character. He has buzz. I don't know how I feel with the Vicky thing. I think that gives us some insight as where Thea is at when it comes to free agency. I don't think it's AEW, or at least they're not pairing them together. The pop is hard to say when it comes to him because I had no clue what Vicky was saying, first of all. It was just loud noise. And then he comes out and there's no music. Right? So you're like, oh, okay. So maybe the crowd just didn't pick up on it or something, or maybe they weren't excited. But I think the general on Twitter and
I just think they were too busy booing her and
right,
didn't realize
that's
what
more
she was
likely
saying.
it. So I think it's huge for them. Would have been huge for us, yes, but not at the price. And I don't mean that as once again transparency. I don't mean that as we lost them. I'm serious about this because the game we're going to play next is something that plays off of this. Is when you have a budget, how much do you spend on that home run or a triple? I think for us, Andrade is a triple. He's not that home run player in the sense of he is going to get us that next step of whatever it is on not Peacock, Paramount app or whatever it is. I just don't know. Either way, a big deal. Yeah. Maclin now it speaks to what we are, which is the reclamation place, the island of misfit toys, the guys who need second chances or just want to be creative artists and have a place. We have a real plethora of talented people, individuals who have a well of creativity. And from the video, it seemed he had some kind of cool thing worked out there. I don't know what the Jameson. I don't know if we have a new sponsor, which is great. But it was a lot of Jameson showing there. I know obviously he's Deanna's significant other. And I like that as well. And not because I think all wrestlers partners should be working for the same company. But what I like about it adds on to our family vibe that's already there. You're adding someone else who's in the group. And I don't know. But Max, I could go on all about this, but I know we got a whole segment on it. So
yeah. So in terms of Maclin for Impact, I don't think it's a needle mover. I think he's a good worker. And I think you need that in your company. You need guys who can go. Kurt Hawkins, similar type guy. Matt Cardona, similar type guys. Guys that you can stick into a match. They're gonna look good. You can stick them in multiple programs. And it gives you depth within your
him
company.
in AEW?
I mean, no, him in.
Oh, Maclin. I thought you said Andrade. Sorry.
The guy we added. Yeah, Maclin. Okay. Not Andrade. No, Maclin. So I think he's a good addition for Impact in that way. Maybe I did say AEW. My apologies if I did. But him in Impact, I think he's a solid worker and he gives them depth, which I think as they need. They need to grow their roster. And with your roster, you need to have top guys, you need to have depth guys, and then you need to have your guys that are just really enhancement talent. So I definitely think he's a good addition there. The main thing I want to talk about, though, is Andrade. I think he's a good get for AEW, but AEW is very quickly running into a situation where they're going to have too many guys that they want to or should be pushing as main event guys and just simply not enough time to do it. So I went through their roster and looked at it, and I'm going to run through. They have 18 people that I think either people or they consider to be top guys or soon to be top guys. Adam Page, Anthony Ogogo, Brian Cage, Cody Rhodes, Darby Allin, Ethan Page, John Moxley, Jungle Boy, Kenny Omega, MJF, Miro, Orange Cassidy, Pac, Penta, Phoenix, Sammy Guevara,
These are all
Andrade,
people you think
and
are
Britt Baker.
their top guys?
I think they're people that either are going to be or guys that they see as their future to be their top guys. As much as I don't like Orange Cassidy, they seem to be high. They also have Jericho, Christian, Matt Hardy, and Sting, which at least two of those guys have to be in some type of program at the same time, taking up time. You also have FTR, the Young Bucks, and Santana and Ortiz, which are your big tag teams. You can't fit all these people into a program. What's eventually is going to happen with them is the same thing that happened in WWE, where people go there and they're just not getting the time, and they're going to end up leaving. So I think when it comes to like free agent additions, they're almost at their capacity where they can't keep adding top level guys, which I think from a Impact standpoint is going to be good for Impact, because it's going to allow when people come on the market for Impact to say, hey, you can go to AEW, but what have they done with Penta and Phoenix? They were stars here. They're just guys there. What are they doing with Andrade? Is he going to be a star? Or like Miro literally for 6 months was the best man to Kip Sabian.
So
and
with that said, one, Andrade has partial creative control. Two, Don Callis is there now, and the moment Don Callis started hanging out, Miro is a beast now. So you got to remember that some of this is the wrestler themselves thinking they're creative and coming up with something, and then a kid or a guy who grew up as a billionaire who loves wrestling booking a show as well. So there's a lot of variables there as well. But yeah, I hear your point.
No, but they're getting to that point where people are going to come to the conclusion, even wrestlers that are there are going to be like, hey, I'm not getting what I thought. And I think they're going to be available. So I think as more people become available, I think it's just going to be a benefit for Impact. And it's going to allow Impact to get top guys. And that's going to be their selling point. Hey, we actually have a spot for you to come in and be something, as opposed to you just being one of the
that's going to be
20
so
guys
long
that they're going to
for
try
that to happen,
in.
though.
I mean, I think it's
Max, they're going to have 3 or 4 shows weekly.
Yeah.
But they have Dynamite, which is 2 hours. They're going to have Revolution, whatever the hell they're going to call it, which is going to be 2 hours. And then they have Dark, which is 1 hour. Like, and do you really Dark is main event? Like, is anybody ever in WWE been like, man, bro, I'm 10-0 on main event, I'm killing it?
Okay,
or
fair
are they
enough.
like, I hate being on main event, no one sees. So, and then even if you assume that gives them 4 hours of actual programming, are they going to have crossovers? Is a Kenny Omega and Jungle Boy story going to take time on Dynamite and on Revolution? Because if it is, although they have 2 shows, you're eating up time with one feud between those 2 shows. So you don't have they already basically completely ignore their women's division. Like, if you're Impact and you're trying to pitch a women's wrestler, come to Impact, you'll actually be on TV, or you can just get one match every 6 months on TV.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was reading Hakeem's thing there. Yeah. So as far as the partnership ending, I'll get to that. And Max makes a great point, and I'm going to use that as a segue to get to the game and explain that, because this is exactly what Max is talking about. Is exactly what we're going to be doing here, seeing the playing field and acting as if Impact's the only game in town. That Impact is the only option for these free agents. So we'll get to that, but I do want to address that. If the partnership ended after Kenny Omega loses his belts, would I be disappointed? Yes and no. If it was just, that's it, let's move on. All right, screw it, let's go. Okay, we had Kenny here, we got some buy rates, some new eyes on us, boom. They had to do us a solid for taking Don. I think essentially that's what this is feeling like. But at the same time, if he goes away and our buy rates go down, it's going to suck. And it's going to be something that bothers me, because it's like we're taking 2 steps forward to then take 3 back. So we're never doing anything that's progressing us if we're hanging on to someone that's lifting us and then, okay, thanks. So we kind of need them. We need his coattails to ride on right now. So I don't know. As far as crossover, though, yes, because I still want my Ethan Page, Christian Cage, and all that. Christian Cage, by the way, one of the first trading cards announced, as well as a pin. So I still think that they're hiding there, and they're going to be Impact players, but we'll see. Now, as far as the game we're going to do, so this game is going to be a free agency game. We're going to act as if we work for Impact. We have a budget. And we could get some talent to come. Now, this also takes out the sense of people who have the ability to say, no, I don't like this contract. We're taking that out. We're not saying who would come to Impact, but who would we take to Impact or bring to Impact is the better way to say it. So I'm gonna show you the first video. There's gonna be 4 different videos that have point values. Sound like a King of the Mountain match. I'll try to make it as easy as possible here. There's 5 tiers. Each one is worth a certain point. Obviously, 5 is worth 5, 4 is worth 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. That is the value. Now, here is tier 5. We'll let it replay because I somehow got it to there. So these are the people that we think would ask for tier 5 money from free agency. Don't necessarily need to be rumored, but so we got Samoa Joe, we have Mickie James, Aleister Black, Bully Ray, just to have an extra head there. All right, so those people would be worth 5 points. 4 points. Enzo thinks he's 4 points. So we have tier 4. We have Awesome Kong. We have Buddy Murphy. We have Thea Trinidad. Tessa Blanchard making an appearance. Lana. Ryback. Kalisto. And Enzo. All right, so they are worth 4 points. Once again, please don't judge us based on the value of them. We did the best we could with it. It's just a game. So enjoy it. And I'm announcing them individually. I know obviously you would know who they are, but I'm announcing them for the audio listeners here. All right. Here is point value 3.
And this is very similar to
tier
Daily
3.
Fantasy.
We have Peyton. We have Billy. We have Eric Rowan. Ruby Riott. Bo Dallas. Davey Richards. All right. Now, my thinking here is that, yes, even though the girls are 3 and 3, you have to pay for them together. So it would be a 6, which you have to see if you think a tag team is worth the double point here. All right. And then last but not least, we have Alexander Wolf. We have Daga. Should I time these better? We have the Ascension guys individually. We have AOP individually as well. We have Chris Hero sighting. We have Santana Garrett. Chris Harris. I missed somebody. Nevaeh coming back. Once again, them. Wesley Blake. There you go.
Wesley Blake.
Okay. And Daga. Okay. So those are the people. Now, the 1 point value is going to be for independent wrestlers, okay? We're not going to take into consideration the people that we already believe to be signed. We're not going to talk about Killer Kelly and those, but the one for indie guys that we think we could use some extra fillers as Sam Beal comes along and all these other guys, VSK, who I'm both Sam Beal, follower of the show, and I actually liked him as in Brian Miner's segment. So pretty cool. All right. So we have 20 points,
20 points?
To spread out here amongst these. I have my pen and paper ready. We are going to come up with a TNAIW team 20, and then we're going to release this to the masses on Twitter. So it looks weird, Alan. Hades. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Weird Al.
First time I saw him.
Yeah.
When he debuted.
Too much?
Yeah, too much.
But yeah, so we're gonna come up with our R20 and how we would spend it, and then we'll submit it for the masses to make their point. But we also want you guys to send us yours and how you would spend your 20. If you could send it to us, DM it to us, put it in the chat group, however you want to do it. Get it to us, and we'll see. We'll put it out as well, and whoever has what the people perceive as the best, we'll give them something. We'll figure it out. All right, guys, we're in the war room. We have our people there on top of some rookies or some indie wrestlers for 1 point. What are we doing?
I think we have to go straight in for the Iconics.
Okay.
They're a must, surely.
I agree
would
with
agree
that,
with
and that's
that.
not based off of preference or of their work. Besides that, they are great at what they do. But we need another established woman knockout tag team. And they just fit the mold. Individually, they're good. Together, they're great. I want to see what they can do, and I agree with you there, Craig. So if we do that...
Yeah.
Oh,
This
sorry.
division's made. So, I was just saying that this division's made.
This company is made for them. I can't wait. All right. So if we spend 6 points that way, we still have 14 remaining. Now, I think the Iconics are one of those people that transcend multiple different needs. Who are we looking for? How about this? What division or do we need some extra hands in? I want Max to go because for once, I'm going to agree with you, Max.
Buddy Murphy. The man is an absolute star. So I know I joke about the fact that I love the Johnsons, but I have been on the Buddy Murphy
That is true.
legit hype train since our old podcast back in 2015 when they were literally Blake and Murphy. So I called that he was going to be a star, and he is an absolute star. He could start off in the X division easily, and I think you could lift him up
In
to
time,
the main
I
event.
agree with you there. He is that damn good in the ring.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Wesley yet. We'll figure that out because that would kill two birds with one stone as well. Because we would then have a tag team that's obvious. But
I was
we'll
thinking
see.
about him, but I don't know. I'd rather.
let's see where this money goes. So we have that leaves us with another 10 points to spend here. Craig, are you in on Buddy Murphy as well?
Yeah, he's incredible. I mean, he basically single-handedly saved that entire cruiserweight division from just floating around nowhere. I believe he was one of the first. On the pre-show of random pay-per-view, I think it's TLC. Him and I think it was Ali had one of the best matches of the card, and that was on the
because
pre-show.
he could go.
So, yeah, he's one of the absolute best, and
He carried that bum Seth Rollins to a Raw Tag Team Championship too.
Oh,
I mean,
man. Okay,
yeah.
so that does lower how much we have, because
that brings us to
there's
10.
someone that just keeps popping up that I really, really cannot take my eyes off of, and unfortunately it's Samoa Joe. But as much as I love Samoa Joe, and he does give us name value, and as big of a hypocrite as it makes me, because I feel like Aleister Black and Andrade are on the same level as far as name value or attention getting people. But I just, how do you pass on Aleister Black?
I agree.
you can't.
I agree. He's great.
Yeah. I agree with Jeebus there. One, I agree with Jeebus that Craig turned face on women's wrestling today. So that was nice on this episode. And I also agree that, with you that he is a must. All right. So for right now, we have Aleister.
So that gives us.
And we have
5
added
points
someone who I
left.
think is an automatic main eventer, in Aleister Black. He kills so many birds with his,
I agree.
he fits in creatively as far as entrance and look and persona. It's just going to be so cool. All right. So we have, that's,
In terms of independent wrestlers, are we going for ones that are well known internationally, or
no,
local
they could be known
independents?
internationally to some people, maybe not everybody, but my thinking with that is you would always want to take a couple, just to feed the system. But
So-
okay, in that case, I have a name. I don't know if you know. You can check out some of the stuff on the W Network if you have it. But Dan Maloney, he's from the UK. I watched him have one hell of a match with Moose at my local independent show. He was signed with NXT for a little bit, but they dropped him. He's on NXT. Yeah, he's a beast. I think he's 23 years old, and he's one of the best.
What about the guy you mentioned? Was it Cannonball Mike? Speedball.
Oh, Speedball might be.
I mean, if we include him, so I think there's a lot of names we could come up with that are, people that you could sprinkle in. But I wrote that down. You said Dan Maloney. I'll look into him. 23. That fits another need of where we've been taking younger guys and getting the most out of them. And sometimes, yes, unfortunately, we're preparing them for their next step. But yeah, Mike Bailey, that's his name. So I think it's suffice to say that we can add some. How about for the sense of this game, we just say that's not point value. And we'll just say, yeah, we need some young up and coming talent, Mike Bailey.
Yeah,
Lamar or
I
Oliver.
agree. Yeah. I mean, looking through what we have, I think we have 5 points. I think you look at the point values on these. You can obviously go with somebody like Tia Trinidad. I think she's an option. You could also look at Davey because he pairs with Eddie to make a tag team. You can grab Ruby or Bo because then when Liv Morgan is cut, you can add her. You're looking into the future. You could add Chris Harris because he can team. You could add Wesley. So there's different ways we could go about the 5 points to kind of give us different setup. I think Ruby Riott would be a good option.
If
you're looking at tag teams, then obviously you can go for Enzo if you're looking at tag teams.
I would rather shoot myself in the face than pick up Enzo Amore.
I just don't know. Tag teams are. I mean, I think there's enough tag teams. It's just a case of building them.
Oh, I do want to address that, Bert. So once again, we have to remember that everyone in the chat automatically assumed that Impact just said, "Nah, we don't need Andrade. We're not going to go after him." But they did, and that came out shortly after. So when we say Lee Moriarty or these people that we should have went after, how do you know we didn't? How do you know we didn't? And you just kind of have to say not everyone could get it. Does AEW or WWE guys say, "Oh man, we got X, Y, and Z," but we should have tried harder on Lee Moriarty or whatever the fuck his name is. So I get that train of thought, but we have to. This part of the reason I wanted to do this was to, and he isn't signed. Yeah, he's just anyone in the MLW, same as Davey that's in there. And I skipped over Chelsea Green, maybe for Craig's sanity. I apologize. I see her not in here. It was an accident though. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Bert. I know what you're saying, buddy. I just want to make that in reference. I didn't mean to direct it towards you. But it feels like we always focus on, oh, wow, we got Flan's Slammiversary. But, or, oh, well, Morrissey's.
There's always something for people to be annoyed about.
It's not always going to be perfect, but I just want us to think about that. And also say, let's take a step back and say, yeah, we need to scout these younger talents. But just like any sports team, you can only have so many people that you have time to develop. Sometimes, and I think that's where we are now, we need more established talent that could come in and play. And the 4 we have chosen so far, with being the Iconics, Buddy Murphy, and Aleister Black, are game changers when it comes to the product of Impact Wrestling. But anyway, that's me. All right. So, our last 5 points. So we have some time, so we could. Bo Dallas can kick rocks. Davey Richards. Here's the people like Davey Richards. That's a tag team. You put him in here. He's got something with Eddie right away. We bring Wesley Blake, and he's got something with Murphy. But I think you keep Murphy by himself.
I think you keep Murphy by himself. I agree. As much as I love Blake and Murphy, I think they're funny. Like. It would be like after, I mean, I don't think he's on this level, but it would be like after Shawn Michaels moved on, and then you'd bring him back.
The new Rockers,
let's get back to Rockers. Like, he's gone past that point. He's a main event. He's a single star at this point.
Bring up an idea here. Wonder if we bring in, my hair comes up so I don't mess it. Chris Harris. James Storm's already there.
Okay.
I fully expect Alex Shelley to
I
come back
agree.
at some point when things get normal. Right? It's too easy of a schedule.
Hopefully.
I think, to hang out with his friends and do it, maybe. But Alex Shelley is Alex Shelley, and he chooses what he wants to do, and that as anyone is allowed to. But if he comes back, and then we bring in Chris Harris full time with AMW, and they come back at Slammiversary, you're telling me that people aren't gonna shit their pants? Do you know what I mean? Like he has a small.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry, Ryback is not even on the radar. He has a small niche in the sense of, yes, he can only be used as a tag team. He's only going to be an AMW. That's going to be his thing. But if he's already there, man, as far as Chris or James Storm, and we're not pushing him singly, Chris Harris is an instant, exciting pairing. Air America's Most Wanted, excuse me. Hey, shits and giggles, a fucking Gale could go out there and pose in front of him like the old days. Like there's just so many cool little winks to the past that they could do. So I nominate Chris Harris, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's Chris Harris and Davey are the last two that we pick up.
I mean, I was listening to Tommy Dreamer's podcast the other day, and he said something that Impact do perfectly. They have the right balance of rookies and up-and-comers, future stars, current stars who are hitting their striding, back to hit their peak, and veterans. Impact balance that so well, and I think having a veteran like Chris Harris or even Chris Hero, I think would do wonders for Impact as a whole, because if they can still go, and the wrestlers can sit under their learning tree.
I agree with you. Yeah, it was me. I put Ryback there.
Yeah, I think it's either. So I do agree that Chris Harris is a good option. That gives us 3 points left, and I think it comes down to Ruby Riott or Davey. Davey gives us another tag team. It also gives us somebody who could potentially go in the main event spot.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy can go, but I think Ruby adds depth to a knockouts division that we need. Like, as much as the Iconics add depth, they're a tag team. They can split up and go on there. Like, you can push one of them and the other can just kind of be like her wing woman. But I do think adding just a solid, because what that would give us main event men's, X Division men's, knockouts tag team, men's tag team, and knockouts.
Yeah, and
main event. I think that's the way you go when it adds one person to each of those groups.
Yeah, and not forgetting that Ruby can also go with Josh Alexander as well.
Oh, really?
They have a history. Ruby won her first one of her first independent titles at Alpha One against Josh.
Heidi Lovelace. Huh.
See, I see. Look, AO Productions, Ruby, and then Liv when gets released. Boom.
The one thing that makes me nervous. I do want to say that. I know we're talking about fantasy booking here, but Buddy Murphy and Andrade are pretty good. Is it them that are good friends, or is it Alistair and Andrade? I feel like it's.
No, I mean, I think Alistair's definitely an option for, like, if you're looking at where he's going to go, he's definitely an option for AEW. But once again, the question is, when you just add Andrade, you're going to push him. A month later, you're going to bring in Alistair Black. Are they also going to? Like,
you're right.
You can only push so many people. Like,
and you got to fit in a Mark Henry or Big Show match.
I mean,
once in a blue moon.
Yeah, and you still have to worry about Brian Cage is still there, holding on to Taz's belt. A Go-Go, they're clearly. Once again, I don't know if you watch AEW. He's clearly going to be somebody they push. Jungle Boy, Jungle Boy and Orange Cassidy. If they all of a sudden just got fired from AEW, I probably wouldn't notice. I'm just saying, I wouldn't know. Like, they're not people that I think of stars.
Fair enough.
But I think AEW thinks of them as stars. So there's that type of stuff where I think these people are going to be coming up, and I think these wrestlers have to look at it and say, do I want to go into a situation and it be the exact same thing that I was just in, where I'm here, I've got great ideas, but there's we just don't have enough time for you.
It's a great point.
So
it's a great point because there is a real aspect to this as well. And, I saw people, and then Mark Henry defended it, but Booker T questioned it. There was a lot of hubbub about Mark Henry signing there, and has AEW lost its identity? And I know this isn't an AEW show, but I want to mention that because we were in the similar position. So if you're an AEW fan as well and you're listening to this and want some advice, this is no bias, transparent, my opinion on that. If you start something, right? If we start this podcast and people like it, right? We have a TNAI family, we a TNAIW family. I did say that loud or together. And we have the chat group, we have our merch. So we have all these things going for us that we love, and this banter and this conversation and our Saturday nights. Great, right? But if who's a big podcaster out there? Insert wrestling personality here, right? Mark
Madden.
Huh?
Conrad.
Okay. Thank you.
Conrad.
So say Conrad comes and says, you know what? My contract ended with X, Y, and Z. I want to be on your guys' show. What do you say? If this person has value, of course, are you supposed to say, no, man, we made it work this far with our crop of indie guys who supposedly got over, and you just erase that and bring in the veterans? Or do you say, sorry, guys, move over. Here comes Mark Henry. And he's not necessarily taking the spots, but TNA was in that position, and it worked out, I thought, originally very well with the Main Event Mafia. But then you had that next group with Hogan. So there's that very thin line, and you never go to say XWE talent. That's my point exactly. If you go in any other profession, and Max, I don't want to give your information away, but Max works for an insurance company, right? One that has a lot of commercials. We'll say that. And say his contract runs up with Geico, even though he's not signed that, but his job he leaves. If he goes and works at Progressive, is everyone going to say, "Oh, that's that ex-Geico guy"? For so long, like this is the only profession where you say there's a lot of ex. They're talented. They're talented.
Yeah, and I agree. I don't have a problem with them signing ex-WWE guys. Like, let's be realistic. There were a lot of guys that proved Miro, John Moxley, obviously. I can't remember his name.
Brody
the one
Lee
who passed away, who was the Dark Order. Brody Lee. Guys who proved, hey, we are clearly much better than the WWE was using us. Like, Impact, the Good Brothers have obviously shown they're a hell of a lot better than wrestling in pumpkin matches on WWE. So these guys are definitely talents. But it just comes a point where, like, WWE did the smart thing. They grew so big, they said, okay, we've got to create a secondary show and give more belts, because you can't have 15 guys who should all be going for the heavyweight championship because there's only one heavyweight championship. So they basically were like, okay, well, we've got SmackDown and Raw, and then they had ECW, but now we have NXT. So they've now, although they do a horrible job of it, they've given themselves places to take these people and say, okay, we have our main eventers. We can divide them up between shows. Impact and AEW don't have that same type of option. So there's going to come a point where you have, like I said, they have 18 people who are guys that either they see as or currently are like big name guys that have to get time. And there's just going to come a point where you can't give it all to them.
But those guys that you're mentioning, or are not mentioning, the Orange Cassidys that would lose their time, the Jungle Boys, these people that you obviously don't care about, is that really a loss if Mark Henry takes that spot?
So I have said I don't care about Orange Cassidy or Jungle Boy. Apparently, at the pay-per-view, now I wasn't going to order it, when he won, they said that place went wild. They were humming his song.
So he's over with them.
Orange Cassidy. A lot of people, now granted, this isn't like and somebody on Twitter had said that AEW is more popular than the NWO was back in the day.
No.
First off, that dude can go fuck himself.
Well,
he probably wasn't
course.
alive during that time, because wrestling at that point was a mainstream, like everybody.
Yeah.
watched wrestling,
Right.
even if they had never watched wrestling before. It's basically now just your hardcore fans.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I don't find these guys interesting.
Fair
but
enough.
The
Fair
AEW
enough.
fans do, and they like these guys. So just like things with Penta and Phoenix, if they were in WWE, those guys would be nobodies. But actual wrestling fans watch them, and they're like, these guys can go.
I don't agree with that. I
Like,
think
they
some
need to
some
be
talent
strong.
just transcends. It just oozes out of them. But
I mean, I would say that, but like I look at Andrade and they buried him.
But they
I
didn't.
look at Aleister
NXT
Black,
did
they
not. So
buried-
you're saying
I
the
mean-
main event? Okay, man.
Well, correct.
Okay, well-
and yeah, the main of roster, because that's what, because even these guys, NXT is,
yeah.
as much as it's WWE, it's
Sure, yeah,
run
it
like
is.
Impact and AEW
but-
is.
All
in
right, so
terms of the
we're
way
talking
they-
a lot too much about AEW here. So yeah,
yeah.
they have. Let's get back to the point here, because there's people that we're passing over, and yes, Hakeem is exactly right. Yeah, that's just the narrative that people say. Oh, they're WWE rejects. That narrative needs to end. So
And it's not.
It's too stupid. I mean, at least every wrestler has at least gone through
Yeah.
the performance center.
Yeah, like, I'm letting
But-
you know, if AJ Styles gets released, he's
Well,
not a WWE
that's-
reject or
yeah,
ex-WWE guy.
no, I know, but that's
But I'm
a
just saying,
very
like, that's
specific
the thing,
situation.
like,
That's a very
add those guys.
It's a very
They
specific
have
one.
talent.
But my point being, though, we've made our point, our choices here, and I think we're missing a lot, as Jeebus keeps pointing out. There's Tessa there. No one mentioned her. No one mentioned Ryback, because they're not on our radar per se. But there's not that there's no wrong answers with this game. Look, Awesome Kong, Samoa Joe, Mickey James. Some of these are my favorite. Davey, Thea. It's just, hey, just like, and that's the reason I put the cap at 20. Would it be cool if we put 25 and made the bombest ass roster? Yes, but reality is there. If we're not, if
Yeah, that's what reality is. They have. We said 20 because that's a good number, but they have a salary cap. It's not like hard. You can only spend this much, like,
but it's a
designed
budget
by the NFL, like they are. But yeah, Impact says we're not going to go over this amount. So, and they have to be smart about it. Tessa, great wrestler, but I think she burned that bridge. I don't think she's coming back. Ryback,
Craig.
I don't know, man. If you ask Ryback,
Craig, what's
he's
up?
the best wrestler ever.
And it's, with the whole ex-WWE guys and whatnot, it's like if Impact sign them, they're doing each other a favor. Impact gives them a place to wrestle and to prove people wrong or prove their fans right, and they do Impact a favor by bringing in their fans, their people who support them, which is. And on a mainstream TV, that it may be obviously they're not quite as high numbers as they once were, but WWE draw over 2 million viewers.
Yeah,
that's just in the States.
Yeah,
so
you're right. It's a symbiotic relationship. It's give and take, and it's them using their rub, and then us giving them a canvas to redefine their art. So I just it's just like any sports team. I'm not going to say if some guy's on the Yankees for 4 years and then he goes to the Mets or whatever the hell it is. I'm not going to call him that's that ex Yankee reject. No, he did his contract. He moved on. So let's get rid of that now.
Yeah. This isn't like
yeah.
2006 where guys leaving WWE were
right.
That was the only show in town.
Correct.
And everything else was the indies. Like Impact, AEW, New Japan, WWE, they're all major, even ROH, NW, like they're all major promotions at this point. So if free agents become available, unless you're an idiot, it makes sense to look at these people and ask yourself the question, would these people help?
And I think that's what we need to get back to is as fans as well, and we mentioned it earlier, is just focusing on ours and not necessarily having to defend it, but just enjoy it and make hashtags, push for the better of Impact, not the negative impact of other companies. We gotta focus on us and stay in our lane, and Impact has done a nice job of balancing and doing that. I firmly believe that. So once again,
I will say, I do find it funny though that before AEW came around, people were like, oh, Impact's horrible, it's garbage, it's the worst thing ever. Oh my God, all these guys, AEW just signed 3/4 of Impact's roster. Oh my God, these guys are so amazing.
Well, I mean,
like, man, these guys are all in Impact. Like, I find that funny that people have that had that viewpoint.
Well, it's
Impact,
good,
but it is changing now. So I think that's something that I enjoy seeing that.
Yeah, the
that
narrative is.
switched.
I don't even know if it has switched, dig into people's tweets, you'll see them shit on that person when they're in Impact and then not when they're with AEW. But we only have 5 minutes left.
But I will see a lot of people defend Impact. Now, like when people come out and try and bash Impact, there are a lot more people coming out basically saying,
yeah,
hey man, you clearly haven't watched Impact.
That's fair.
In the last year.
But yeah, as you can see here, we try to address all 20 points to each division here, and never fails to end the show. Ruby Riott, we got who else here? Chris Harris, who we think will help the tag team division because James Storm's already there. Aleister Black, who I think can go in any division. And then on top of that is our main event star, Buddy Murphy, a budding one that would star beautifully in the X division. And then the Iconics, who solidify that tag team division for us, the Knockouts one. So them are our choices. A clean 20 there. Please send us your guys' 20 and your fantasy buying and booking here. Feel free to add some. Obviously, I forgot Laurel Van Ness there, or Chelsea Green, and there's some other ones scattered around. Fix Jeff's light, yeah. If you saw it, it broke today, unfortunately. But it's held on with duct tape and some toothpicks. Yeah, so I think we all agree on that 20, and I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, and that's what I think I would like to see Impact, obviously assuming all these people will say yes, but I think I would like to see Impact take the approach we did. Let's find a guy who fits into each division.
I feel like they do
coming
that.
Out of this, all the divisions. I agree.
Now,
like, that's what I would like to see them do, is be like, hey, let's do this for this division.
Here's the thing I want you guys to also think about in listening and viewing land, and us as well, so we could talk about next show whenever that. It will be next Sunday, I imagine. After Against All Odds. The 20 is the number that we gave, and these point values are numbers we put with wrestlers. Okay, Impact's wallets may be open for more. These people might just be the tipping point. Chris Harris has already showed up. Maybe he's already, he has per dates. We're talking about per dates here. So if they play their cards right, you can use those dates in between having someone else on those. You know what I mean? So there's opportunity there. So I would not be surprised if we got this much talent in one follow suit. I don't know. I think it's possible. Now, obviously, you see that I didn't put Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan on there. CM Punk. The names that just... I don't think... Of course, I would give all 20 to Bryan Danielson. But it's not going to happen. But we have a couple minutes left. Craig, I'll let you talk us out here. Tell everyone to go where they could find us and what they could catch up on. This flew by. Holy shit.
It really did.
And we're on time.
When you're having fun. But yeah, you can obviously, as mentioned before, you can find us here, there, everywhere. Find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. Subscribe to us there. Follow us here so we can get on the path to affiliate. Or further along the path to affiliate. We are now available on Anchor, which leads us to being pretty much everywhere you get your podcast. We'll soon, hopefully, going to be available on Apple Podcast. Working on that. So, listen to wherever you want to listen to us. Or just watch us. You can do it. However you want to do it, just watch us, listen to us, just ignore us. Whatever you want to do.
Some people do.
Go for it. Follow us on Twitter if you don't already. Share this wherever you can when you see it. Uploaded to YouTube and Twitter tomorrow. Try and get us over in Canada.
Now, let's be fair to all my Canadians, if they're out there watching on YouTube, all we see is a percentage, and it says mostly United States. So if you are from somewhere else and you don't see your flag up there, please write us. We'll be more than happy to put it on there, even if it's just one viewer. Every viewer counts. Yeah, I'm excited about Against All Odds. I'm super stoked about Slammiversary. There'll be some cool things from Max and I that we're planning out or going to be planning out, including maybe a vlog of our travels. So we'll see. But it'll definitely be fun. We'll give you all the scoops that we can get, and hopefully we can get the ball rolling on another hashtag and help out the UK as well and the fans there. Max, what do you got?
I mean, it's just an exciting time to be an Impact fan. I mean, I think things are definitely trending up. I know you had talked earlier about how would you feel if the partnership with AEW ended. I think that even if it ends, I know you had said that losing Kenny Omega, if that causes views to drop, would suck. But I feel like that's the only thing we've gotten out of it is him. I really feel like the New Japan partnership, as long as that continues to grow, I think that's the thing that gives Impact a better chance to showcase their talent and to get more eyes on it than just
great
one
point.
guy.
And we'll end it off on that because I forgot to mention this and I just saw it as he was saying it. My note on it. One thing this free agency doesn't have are the free transfers or the transfer from New Japan that we're not mentioning. So this is all people of free agency. We're not mentioning the Okadas or the Ospreys or those people of the world. Jay White. There's so many of them. Guerrillas of Destiny that can still come here, make a big impact on top of the people we sign. So look out for that. Exciting time, as Max said. Follow us everywhere, as Craig said. And as I say, goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Let's see you next time. Bye,
Later,
guys.
everybody.